London, September 13th, 2025. A city known for centuries of stability and power now finds itself at the epicenter of chaos. On this day, more than 100,000 people flooded the streets, waving banners, chanting slogans, and demanding change. What began as a demonstration organized by controversial figure Tommy Robinson soon escalated into one of the largest anti-immigration protests in modern British history. But to truly understand why London erupted, we must go back to the roots of Britain's immigration crisis. On that September afternoon, crowds surged through central London, accusing the government and courts of prioritizing the rights of undocumented migrants over British citizens. Robinson, long known for his hardline stance against immigration, particularly the Muslim community, seized the moment. His speeches have often blamed migrants for crime, unemployment, and cultural tension. The protest began peacefully, but as numbers grew, tensions exploded. Police in riot gear moved in, trying to block demonstrators from storming key streets. Stones and glass bottles flew through the air. Horses panicked as projectiles rained down. Officers were injured. By day's end, 9 people were arrested, dozens injured, and the city shaken. But this was more than one day of anger. It was the eruption of years of frustration over immigration, economics, and identity. To understand the anger, we return to June 23, 2016, the day Britain voted for Brexit. Back then, leaving the European Union was sold as a way to take back control, especially over immigration. EU membership allowed citizens of poorer European countries to move freely into Britain. Many Britons feared waves of workers from Eastern Europe taking jobs, lowering wages, and straining public services. When the votes were counted, 52% chose to leave the EU. The promise? Fewer migrants, more jobs for Britons, and restored national sovereignty. But reality delivered the opposite. Post-Brexit, Britain saw record-high immigration, not from Europe, but from the Middle East, Africa, and Asia. The old EU system, which allowed Britain to return refugees to the first EU country they entered, disappeared after Brexit. Now, thousands cross the English Channel in fragile boats, risking their lives for a chance at a better future. On the French coast near Calais, the refugee camp known as the Jungle once held thousands of migrants from Syria, Afghanistan, and beyond. Today, though the camp is gone, its spirit lives on. Every day, desperate families pile into overcrowded rubber boats, heading for Britain's shores. Some never make it. Storms, accidents, and drownings are frequent. Children have been among the victims of Britain's response. Proposals to deport asylum seekers to Rwanda for processing, a plan that has cost millions but sent 0 flights. Meanwhile, Britain's economy struggles. Labor shortages plague farms and factories. Food prices soar as European workers vanish. Public services strain under pressure. Instead of solving structural problems, some politicians and media outlets have found an easier target: immigrants. They are blamed for unemployment, housing shortages, hospital overcrowding, even rising crime rates. Britain is not alone. Across Europe, immigration, economic woes, and political instability collide. Paris sees violent protests over migrants and austerity. Berlin struggles with soaring energy costs and factory closures. Rome and Madrid battle debt and unemployment. As governments pour resources into the war in Ukraine, many citizens ask, how can we fund foreign wars when our own streets burn? Europe feels like a ship taking on water from all sides: immigration, inflation, war, and political division. Back in London, the September 13th protest ended by nightfall. But the anger did not. Britain now faces hard questions: how to balance compassion for refugees with public order, how to fix a labor shortage without fueling culture wars, and most of all, how to heal a nation increasingly divided by identity and fear. The immigration debate shows no signs of cooling. And as economic pressures mount, more protests, more unrest, and more political upheaval may follow. For Britain, and for Europe, the crisis is far from over. As London's streets fall silent once again, the images remain. Tens of thousands marching, police clashing, flags waving in anger. The world watches, wondering, will Britain find a way forward, or is this only the beginning of a much darker chapter?